Excellent. Path run? Path came in okay?
I came very early this morning.
Good evening. This is the Tibet Center, Kunchab Tarduling, a Buddhist meditation and study center located in New York City and northern New Jersey, and this is our regular Monday night presentation of the Buddha Dharma, specifically the Lamrim, stages on the path to enlightenment. Come on in. Good evening. It's very hot here in New York today, so it's summer. It's to be expected.
It was 100 degrees before.
It was 100? Okay, so 100 degrees. See that? All the prayers we say in this session are on our website, thetibetcenter.org. In the FAQ section, scroll down to prayers. If there is anyone who has passed away and you wish us to pray for them when we recite the Sutra of the Recollection of Three Jewels at the end of the class, put their names now, either in the chat box or text them to Mr. Smith. So we'll start with the regular prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness. May they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra, and I'll have something to say about why we recite the Heart Sutra during the class, okay, and why they clap their hands in the traditional. Thus ever heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this. Seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness is empty. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors in consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no object of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge. And since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. all the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family, profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you are taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, Asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. In our refuge and Bodhisattva vow, it's called Generating Bodhicitta on the head. And we say it, the heading, we say this 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain, to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So we will do, as Venerable Nikki suggests, say one round of Om Mani Padme Hum, or you can keep silent and watch your thoughts. So tonight's program will do a little bit about just that, watching your thoughts. We'll do a little bit of an explanation about the Heart Sutra, and we'll cherry pick through the Lam Rim, but more about that later. But again, the emphasis is on practice. Pardon me for a minute. I gotta la 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 la. Okay, I'm ready. It's my solo. So, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Remember Zen state saying, about a day like today, in the midst of the fire, spooning cool water. So here we are, spooning cool water in the midst of the fire. Not bad, Rob? And the hat's helpful outside, but inside it gets... So the Heart Sutra thing, we want to clear something up about that. If I could find the damn thing. You may have gone to initiations and the Heart Sutra being recited, etc. I want to give you Khenpo Rinpoche's, Yangtze Rinpoche, not Khenpo, Yangtze Rinpoche's quote. This is from page 36 of the book we're following loosely, Practicing the Path, his commentary on the Chenmo. So he's saying, sometimes you go then, they say, oh, we're tossing a torma cake now before the initiation, and they'll get rid of this interruption makers, dispellers, things like that, troublemakers. Wait a minute. So we'll let him explain. Before receiving teachings, we should remember to remove any obstacles that may exist by recalling the meaning of emptiness and reciting the short sutra on the perfection of wisdom, in other words, the Heart Sutra. This may seem strange to you, as on the one hand we talk about taking all sentient beings as the object of our compassion, while on the other hand, upon teaching texts and giving empowerments, we chase away interferers. What's going on? So what is really going on when we offer the gift of a ritual torma cake or recite the Heart Sutra and clap our hands to remove obstacles? We don't do that here, but you would hear them, Yeah, what's going on? I want names. When we do these things, we are trying to eliminate the negative mind that grasps the I. That's what the target is. It's not the beings. They carry the negative arms, and so do we. That's what we're after, so that you're clear. And the manifestations of the three poisonous states of mind that may appear in the form of interferences, three poisonous states, ignorance and attachment and aversion, the main big three. I want, I don't want, and I don't know what's going on. In reality, we're removing states of mind. The mind, as opposed to targeting sentient beings. Sentient beings, it is understood, are always objects of our compassion. That's why we're here, that's our motivation. That's the fuel we burn on the path. So now take a break, relax, sit still. We're talking with Jigme Lingpa now. Jigme Lingpa, nice to see you. It's been many eons. This is a very simple meditation. It's actually, 19 lines. And it should change your life if you apply it. It's very easy to understand. It's very hard to put into practice, but not that hard. Not as hard as getting up to go to work. Not as hard as negotiating with your landlord. None of those things. Right? Not as hard to catch a waiter's eye when you're in a hurry. It's hard, huh?
I just rode here.
You rode on a bicycle? Ladies and gentlemen, the intrepid Aurora. Well, you look cool because you're light colors. So this is Jigme Lingpa, 1700s, a big Nyingma person. So we're non-sectarian here. We study the Lamrim, we study the Gelugpa, but here and there we take a bite from the nice smorgasbord on the table. So, as soon as you think of meditating, we're going to read this twice because we're going to read it with thought. Immediately enter the flow of mindfulness of the present moment of awareness. Underneath whatever we think about is a basic awareness. Enter that. If you maintain that continuously, there is no risk of the slightest mistake, the slightest confusion, or wrong direction. It is unawareness that leads to wandering in the cycle of suffering. In other words, letting it loose and letting the thoughts bounce around like basketballs in your head without realizing I have a basic awareness that's very smart, that doesn't get involved in this. He goes on. If you recognize this mindfulness, you can handle it and realize Your mental confusion will disappear of itself. Whatever thoughts arise from within that mindfulness simply remain in the recognition of the observer that notices that a thought is happening without following the thoughts or rejecting the arising of thoughts. What does this remind you of? Suzuki Roshi's thing about be like a grandparent watching kids, not like the mother. Get over here, look at every little thing that happens. The grandparent has been there, sits quietly and watches the kids and knows when they go over, over the line, like that, but lightly, not bouncing around with the kids going crazy. Same thing with our thoughts. You remain as an observer of these thoughts. You don't chase after them, get involved with them, bring up the whole scene. Remember that son of a bitch? Yeah, right, that's going to help you feel better, isn't it? But that's a technique. These things have been with us, who knows, and they pull. In that way, if you don't follow them, you don't reject them, why are they doing it? In that way, not only are thoughts liberated by themselves, but they become a support on the path. How's that for a judo, right? Undercurrents of thoughts that go unnoticed, and this happens all the time, are as if set in stone. What does he mean? They establish repetitive patterns that solidify to perpetuate the endless cycle of existence. Samsara. Thoughts recognized by mindfulness are like drawings on the surface of water which disappear as soon as they are drawn. They vanish without contributing to the creation of proliferating tendencies and do not reinforce the cycle of suffering. Sounds like Mahmoud, doesn't it? Very simple. You don't need 10,000 texts. You don't need this. You just got to watch the mind. And remember, the mind brings you to enlightenment. The mind puts you in samsara. The mind. So it's that simple. So if you want to think, I'll read it slowly. If you could do a meditation on this is useful, I find, over the years. Very similar to some of the Zen presentations, too. Who wants to comment? Watch your thoughts thing. I remember Rinpoche saying, you'd be surprised what's in there when you start watching your mind.
Is he alluding to putting your focus simply as observing the aware, like
you are aware. You have a basic awareness. Remember we are your minds last class. I think it was are your thoughts your mind or not? What do you think? They're not. Sometimes they express it, but they're not your mind because they appear in your mind. Well, wait a minute, what's going on? One of the metaphors they use that's very helpful, thoughts are like waves of the ocean. It's the water of the ocean, but there's a depth to the ocean. There's a quiet depth underneath these jumping waves, and so that's how some people present the situation. But we have something that's very smart, and that awareness has to be developed. It's now being suppressed by our captivation with all this train of garbage that runs through us. Sometimes good stuff, very nice thoughts, altruistic thoughts, compassionate thoughts, and rotten thoughts. So who are you going to take out next? I don't know, mentally. Or getting even and all that, all the garbage. The basic awareness is very smart, and it goes deeper and deeper, and that's the basis of your clairvoyance, which we naturally have, we're told. Yangtze Rinpoche, we're following, alludes to that a lot. You have to get out of the habit of jumping around with every thought that's in your mind, especially when you're obsessed with someone, either attractively or hatefully, or just repulsively, because it has its energy. It could drive you nuts. Obsession with someone you're crazy about and they don't care about you, you're in for it. There goes all the good times you ever had. And you're doing it to yourself. Because a lot of the information that's coming into you is coming into a mind that doesn't understand reality. So it's wrong to start with. And all your imaginations about this or that are wrong, which we'll find out as we go through. So I'll read this slowly, sentence at a time. I think it's useful. If you don't, speak up. Say this is crap, throw it out. I know you don't talk that way. You talk nicely. Okay? Very similar to the sixth patriarch, Wei Neng. This is in all the the Buddhist literature, way back. This kind of attitude of sitting there and don't get turned around by your own mind. So, as soon as you think of meditating, Jigme Lingpa says, immediately enter the flow of mindfulness of the present moments of awareness, and we always have it. Even in the bardo, even the next life, we're aware. If you maintain that continuously, there is no risk of the slightest mistake, the slightest confusion or wrong direction. It is unawareness that leads to wandering in the cycle of suffering. If you recognize this mindfulness, your mental confusion will disappear of itself. Whatever thoughts arise from within that mindfulness, simply remain in the recognition of the observer that notices that a thought is happening without following the thoughts or rejecting the arising of thoughts. In that way, not only are thoughts liberated by themselves, but they become a support of the path. Undercurrents of thoughts that go unnoticed are as if set in stone. And you might find this when you sometimes, I don't feel good, and then you trace back your thoughts, oh yeah, I thought about so-and-so. That's when you're aware somewhat. And so that's the cause of this. Anytime we feel bad, it's a key that we're doing something wrong, because our basic awareness is bright, open, and it's the direct route to Buddhahood. Cover it up, it goes to samsara. Undercurrents of those that go unnoticed are set in stone. They establish repetitive patterns that solidify to perpetuate the endless cycle of existence, ladies and gentlemen. Thoughts recognized by mindfulness are like drawings on the surface of water. You'll let them go. You'll take it lightly, which disappear as soon as they are drawn. They vanish without contributing to the creation of proliferating tendencies and do not reinforce the cycle of suffering. Try this when you have time. And you do it anyway, naturally sometimes. You're buzzing around, you're daydreaming and stuff like that. And Rinpoche said, he gave me the standard answer. So it's very difficult. Well, there are more thoughts than ever. I'm not calming down. He said, they were there originally. You're just not noticing. And then he points to New York City. He said, you're standing on the corner, all the cars go by. You don't realize. But if you start to count them, you'll see a lot of cars coming in. I actually did that on my block. Almost 60 cars a minute in the story. Yeah. Because it's a big block, long block, and had a long life. So, sick, 600 an hour, something. It was a lot. But this is true. And how do you verify this? You try it out. And it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to wear an outfit. You don't have to pay dues. You don't have to do anything. The right way to live. All right, man. What else?
What is the text?
Text is On the Path to Enlightenment, Matthew Ricard. This is an anthology put together of pieces of things that helped him to get where he is. All his readings, he would take notes and do this, And he put it in this wonderful book, Hard Advice from the Great Tibetan Masters. He's got everybody in here. And they're short, they're good for hanging out in the house reading, a little bit. I feel better now, maybe. Otherwise, I don't understand. That happens too. But you'd be surprised. I'm never surprised. I'm always bewildered. But it's a very good book, On the Path to Enlightenment.
And it's a Jigme Lingpa text?
It's everything. Tsongkhapa's in here, Dilgo Chensei, Donald Trump. No, he's not in here, unfortunately. He doesn't go, it's mostly Tibetan masters, but if you really want to do a good one, you should do the Pali tradition, the Chinese Zen tradition, the Japanese Zen, Huayan Buddhism. If you're going to be like, the book will be like this. But there's these lamas that are hard can say a lot in a little bit of words. And that's good. So we'll go to practicing the path. Hey, all the way from Bali, you came here. Nice to see you. Just get in. We do a little bit, and we've always warned when we teach Lamrim, never talk about the guru. Never talk about, relying on the spiritual teacher, etc. But we'll say a little bit about it from Yangtze Rinpoche's page 40 of this text, Practicing the Path. I'll turn to page 40 and I'll turn to page. I wrote out pieces of it. This is a section called Relying on the Spiritual Teacher. And I went down to the second paragraph, second sentence. I start there. So if you want to, so, making the path a reality in our lives is completely dependent upon reliance on a spiritual teacher. At first, no. On the level that he's talking about, guru devotion and all that. That doesn't happen until you're fairly advanced and you've examined the gurus. Holiness said sometimes you examine for 12 years. I mean, if you're young, you can do that. Yeah, I can't do that. Leon, I'm glad you got here. What happened? You fell out of an airplane. You landed on your head. You okay?
I'm fine.
Good. Hey, your teeth? Yeah. It's a big deal because it can be abused. There's a whole, if you really want to look into it, either Tsongkhapa's Lamrim, Geshe Sopa's commentary, this commentary, His Holiness sometimes has a couple of Lamrims that he does, Essence of Refined Gold. They all mention the Guru devotion, they all mention it's open to abuse, as you could see. At the beginning, we don't need this kind of a guru. You need a spiritual friend. Kalyana Mitra, they called it in Sanskrit, I think. A good spiritual friend. Because you're learning, you don't know yet, and you're not committed. Tantric level, you must have a guru. So it's important, because it's instruction at that level, I'm told, I don't have any experience, is tailored to the individual, and you're working one-to-one with the teacher. Especially, and people have, you can have many gurus. You go to one guy if you want to have Faruqa teaching, somebody else for this or that, that's nothing wrong. When a teacher had 150 or so, a lot of gurus, you know, we don't have time. But anyway, so making the path a reality is dependent on a spiritual teacher. The book can be your teacher. Anyway, if we are interested in Dharma only on an intellectual level or an academic level, we will be unable to see the importance of this practice. All right, if you just want information like this, why do we need a guru? And the question is legit, you know, why? But as we try to apply the spiritual path to our own lives, as we learn to make the teachings part of our own experience, the conviction of the necessity of relying upon a spiritual teacher will arise without effort. In other words, you come about that desire to take a guru naturally. After you load up, you examine, and it'll come to you. And sometimes, well, the student is ready, the teacher will come, all right, shut up. Something like that, though, does happen, you know. You suddenly find more meaning in what they say because you prepped yourself. You read Lamrim or whatever you read. Page 42, I'm skipping, Mark. Click, 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 click. We need an e-book, right? But if we wish to train in the entire graduated path to enlightenment, the causal vehicle of the six perfections and the resultant vehicle of secret mantra to obtain the enlightened state of Vajradhara, it is essential to cultivate the realizations of guru devotion as explained here. We're not going to do it thoroughly because I'm told to leave the topic alone, and that's that. This is from way back. I mean, we don't mention this, you know. He was very clever. What do you think? What's the tradition in Chinese Buddhism? You take the teacher as a guru immediately, everything the teacher says. What is it? Fa Yun, for instance,
yes,
a very good teacher.
Master, very his master. I feel when I think of what he taught me, I don't know what I say. Always say, what is meaning to his master? Even though before he passed away, the day before he told me, he said his master come to see him. One time
He was a very holy man. I
Yeah.
know this guy, she's talking, Reverend Fa Yun.
when he taught about his master, and he's showing he is like a little baby, you know, see the mom come to
Yeah, this kind of,
tell. It's really showing something.
Right.
It's really,
that's in your culture. We don't have that here. The Chung is aware of that. That's accepted in a lot of cultures. Outright divorce, especially Tibet. Even the whole family probably goes like this. We don't have that here. And it was Rinpoche, Chungla Rinpoche's opinion that would turn people off. It's a delicate balance. So. But it should come naturally. You want to be around this person more and more. What he says is very interesting. He's a lot different, you know. And there's a whole thing about seeing faults in the guru. We're not going to go into that.
What are the qualifications that you look for in a guru?
Oh, it goes on. You want to spend some
There
time
must be a
with...
list, right?
Oh, there's a list. And then there's a qualification of the student.
Okay.
So we'll just do a synopsis of it. But if you want that, starting Wednesday, we can do that. It's in the Lamrim, all the Lamrims. Sankapa's Lamrim, Geshe Sopa's commentary, all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, actually numbered.
It's 10 lama.
10, something like that, yeah.
Can I say one thing?
What? Go ahead, you
I
could
think
say
we are
one
the
thing.
lucky.
That's it.
We are
That's
very,
true.
very lucky because our Rinpoche, though he's passed away, but his spirit always helps us. He's the best guru in my life. As my master, is our Rinpoche, is the best in this world in my life. I believe with you.
Now, why do you act this way? Joking.
Very. He always helps us. I feel he's 20, when he's alive, he's 24 hours on meditate. I mean, the 24 hours he's concerned
He's talking about-
of us.
The mind doesn't die, so he's around. These people are around, by the way. This dies, which is good. I'm sick of it. But you want a quick one? The first is that the mind of the spiritual teacher should be completely subdued by training in ethics. Starts with that. By the vows of individual liberation and by the bodhisattva vows. And although it's not specifically mentioned, we could also say that the spiritual teacher's mind should be well subdued by the practice of living in the tantric vows. There's a set of ethics that goes along with each of those levels of practice. That's just the start.
Is it related to ethics?
In terms of ethics, there's bodhisattva ethics, code of conduct, there's tantric code of conduct. They're different. But it's the same person practicing, but the same person who has matured and can practice at a certain level. You mix them up and you got a lot of trouble. The second, go ahead. This is page 43. We're going to see about getting copies of these inexpensively for everyone by wholesaling from Wisdom.
Digital one,
What?
digital,
You have a digital copy already?
yeah.
Page 43. Well, you were on the ball. I'm a Luddite. Paper is really exciting to me. All right. Second, the mind of spiritual teacher should be peaceful, subdued by the higher training and concentration. The third quality is the mind of the spiritual teacher should be extremely peaceful, subdued by the higher training and wisdom. Sometimes people say, he should know more than you. He would say it like that, to put it in a nutshell. He was very fun. The fourth quality, you want the more? You had enough? Let me know when you want to give up. Teacher must be more knowledgeable in the subject matter than the disciple. He has to know more than you. For example, though Lama teacher held a view of a higher philosophical school than his teacher, Lama Sarlingpa, from the point of view of the knowledge of instruction of bodhicitta, Lama Sarlingpa was more proficient. Alongside all this intellectual stuff runs bodhicitta. Easy to understand. Oh yeah, you have to think of others more than yourself. Hard to put into practice. Are you very happy when someone asks you for a favor? Do you overflow with joy? No? You ain't no bodhisattva. It's said that they, I always try to get out of it, but bodhisattvas are happy. Oh yes, sir, I'll help you. They get off on it. That's a natural thing. I mean, I hate to be so trashy in my expression, but I'm sorry, that's me. Fifth quality, he possesses joyful perseverance. No task, no long face. I'll do what I have to, that's it. Without manic excitement, because that only leads to manic depression. The sixth quality, the spiritual teacher should be rich in bearing all of the oral transmissions of Sutra and Tantra. Because remember, we're going for the highest enlightenment, tantric path, the quickest. So they should have that quality. Seventh quality, the teacher should possess the direct realization of emptiness. How do you know this? I don't know. And then sometimes, Yangtze Rinpoche gives a little anecdote. I think it's worth listening. A while ago, I took a trip to give refuge vows to a man in prison. This man wanted to ask me some questions first. So he asked me, have you realized emptiness? He was quite young, maybe around 20 years old. Well, I don't have any realization of emptiness, but I told him I have studied a little bit and so on. After we finished everything, I was curious where he had gotten the idea to ask this question. The young man said that he had read it in a Lam-Rim text. In jail at 20 years old. Wow. The eighth quality, the teacher is skilled in expressing himself. Yeah, if you can't understand them, what's the use? You got it. Him or herself, they're getting smart, they're telling the truth, in order to be able to guide disciples. Yeah, if the male pronoun comes up here, it's old-fashioned. It should be, there are female geshe-mas, and we will have them here coming through soon, so the old days are gone. The ninth quality of the teacher is that the teacher is able to lovingly care for the disciple. It gets that close. And the 10th quality is qualified spiritual teacher should possess the quality of not being easily fed up by having to repeat things. A lot of patience. I told you you're smart. No. Although somebody like Martha, unusual, the question would always come up, what about Martha? Martha used to be the crap, he was always drunk, and Millerica would do this, and then Martha would say, no. Unusual teacher, unusual student, you shouldn't apply it to yourself. And that shut everybody up. How to find the qualified teacher. We'll go to this. The main thing also, a Mahayana teacher has to have bodhicitta. That's it. You want to practice Tantra, as Dalai Lama said it many times, it doesn't work unless you have bodhicitta. You can do some of the yogas, you can do this, you're not going to get the realization that you're looking for unless you have bodhicitta. It's a Mahayana practice. You can get miraculous power, you can burn down someone's house, you have to stand in line at Walmart or some big deal. The attainment you're looking for is not available without a bedrock of bodhicitta. That's what they all say. How to find the qualified teacher, it's hard to do. Qualities of the disciple. Yeah, we'll do a little of this. This point, I actually wrote it out, so we'll do it.
There's also the last four of the 10 perfections for the purposes of others.
Right, in the first few with yourself. Right, they're in here.
Yeah.
He doesn't have generosity in there, though. But he has ethics. Patience, he has the patience to keep repeating things. So I put that in the patience category. I don't know. But a good teacher should do. You teach music. You have to beat the...
I know about repeating things very well.
Very well. Yeah, we repeat many times. About repeating the same text, this is Yangtze Rinpoche in a good comment. Why do we have to read the same text every day? It's the same text, you see, but the mind is different every time you read it. Oh, it's the truth. Boom, boom, boom. And it should grow. Okay? Want a drink? Don't serve it. Get Starbucks. All right. Qualities of the disciple. And this part, he's called some disciple. I like to say student. The first quality that you must possess as a student is honesty. And now he elaborates on what he means by honesty in this context. You don't lie. It's something different. This means possessing a state of mind that is totally unbiased. Unbiased. And now he defines bias. A biased mind means that from your perspective, your own side takes precedence over others. I know what I'm talking about. You're already locked out by doing that. It's very easy to fall under that. It's subtle. And we carry it all the time because we have to be assertive in business, we have to be assertive in the class and stuff like that. But maybe you don't know what you're talking about. And this is the place, the spiritual path is where you really untie everything in your mind, open up everything, and go down to the basic, to the operating system, not to the apps, you know. So
that means like our mind is like always attached to something.
oh yeah.
And then being like a practitioner, that means we have to be like open-minded like that.
Amen. Say. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Very good. Yeah, that's true. Otherwise, you're not learning anything. You already know. What are you listening to somebody for? You already know. You're locked up. Remember the containers, the full container? You can't get anything in the container. It's already filled up. You come to class and you're filled up with your own ideas. It's going to spill out. You're not going to get it. Same. Yeah. You know, you've been around Ricochet. You've got everything. In this case, honesty in the student means honesty in your viewpoint, the way you think, the way you see, the way you feel. And that's a good habit to have. Take inventory of yourself. Is feeling real, or is it based on some sort of aggressive thing that I have going on, or something, or attachment? How do you feel? It's an indication of the deeper mind, not the surface one. The way you see, of course, see could be the visual seeing of the see, could be the taking in of information. And if we take it in through the filter of inherent existence, we got a problem. How do we not do that? It's hard. So you rely on the letter until you can see it like that. The greatest sense of honesty that you are able to cultivate in yourself. This is page 47, if you're keeping score. Mark races to 47 and gets a flat tire. No. I don't know, we got a little crazy. The greatest sense of honesty that you are able to cultivate in yourself as a student, the more your mind will be free from seeing mistakes in others. That's unexpected. That's funny.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to study the whole book to find out. Return next week for the chilling answer. In other words, the greatest sense of honesty that you are able to cultivate in yourself as a student, the more your mind will be free from seeing mistakes in others. Because you're always going, what about your own mind? What's going on in here first? It's all the young's fault. You know, the young kids think. Yeah.
So as a student, you want to improve yourself.
Right. Well, otherwise, what are you doing there?
So the right attitude
Right.
is just
Yeah.
self-reflection.
Yeah. You think Fa Yun had an idea? He had something. Fa Yun had these qualities. Look at this. He was a real saint. And even Chungla Rinpoche was very important. He had him do Shangyen's funeral. And all the Tibetans who was Chinese. I said, the guy's here for the same reason you are. He got thrown out of China for being a Buddhist. He was persecuted. And not only that, Choje Lama, the Mongolian, spoke Mandarin. He said, this is the same ceremony we do, to the letter. So, the funeral. So anyway, that's Fa Yun. You truly wish to meet a great Mahayana teacher, on page 47 continued, it is really important that you give up too much attachment to your own point of view, too much belief in the way that things appear to you. You have to understand now, you don't have an understanding of reality, a visceral, direct realization of emptiness. So the way things appear to you are filtered through a concept of inherent existence, or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes you're right. You know, this guy I knew from the start, he was no good. Sometimes you're wrong. Too bad we can't be 100%. Right now, you rely too heavily on what appears to a sense consciousness. Basically, sense consciousness doesn't mean just what you see, hear, taste. In fact, the sense consciousness is the grossest grossest level of consciousness. This would be good news to us. We're not, this consciousness that we see things through and everything we make all our decisions on is the grossest level. Whereas the rest of it underneath, in you. It's not out there, it's in you. So we have to break all this tyranny of the mind away to come down to who we really are, Buddhas, eventually. It's there, it's not something you gotta run out and get. So clean house, you'll find a lot of things you thought you didn't have. In some time, I said, 7:45. We didn't do much of the qualities of the disciple. We could do a few more, but what I just read is from 47, qualities of the disciple. The second quality is the bottom paragraph of 47. You got it, Bing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second quality you should have is the intelligence to be able to differentiate what is right from what is wrong. Sometimes not easy. If you do not have a sense of discriminating wisdom accompanying your sense of honesty, people will take you for a ride. And we don't mean Uber. No? The wisdom that is able to discriminate means, for example, that when you come across an explanation about the disadvantages of cherishing self and the advantages of cherishing others, you have the wisdom to see that this kind of practice is worthwhile. But you think about it first. You discriminate. You think that you have to. What does His Holiness repeat? Analyze, analyze, analyze. Constantly. Not yes, yes, yes. Why? He gets very forceful about that, even now in his dosage, in his old age. I wonder if he's just manifesting that. Anyway, if you were not, bottom of 47, top of 48, protected by your own inner discriminating wisdom, it would be possible for someone to come along and say, forget about this kind of altruism. You're better off working for your own individual liberation. Then, being convinced of that, you might give up the higher goal of altruism for the lesser attainments. Stop working for yourself. You're in business. Discrimination is very important. It's your life, unfortunately, in this world. Yeah. The third quality you must have is faith and interest in achieving your goals. Once you think about the goals, they're possible. I mean, we don't even know that such a thing as Buddhahood exists until we met the teachings and what it is: omniscience, immortality, able to help others, able to think many things at once. Amazing. We couldn't even imagine that. Faith and interest in achieving your goals are the qualities of a disciple as stated in order as honesty, discriminating wisdom, and the aspiration to achieve your goals in actual practice. You must first cultivate the aspiring interest in your mind. On that basis comes discriminating wisdom, and as a result of that, you'll be able to cultivate unbiased mind and total honesty. So there's the way he presented it was not the order that it's practiced in. Aspiring interest, discriminating wisdom, and then honesty. So you have to have an interest in this.
I have a little question.
Big question. The class answered the questions here too, don't worry. No.
When you have discriminating wisdom, how does that correlate to values?
What's good for me and what's not. Very simple.
So values would be like predefined, discriminating wisdom.
First you have an interest in your mind, and the interest is to attain Buddhahood. You now have a new program. So for that, you discriminate. What's going to help me attain that or not? Having a drink, joining Trump's party, or what? Coming to Tibet Center. Yeah. And then you have an unbiased mind of total honesty. You do, as Nikki always says, constantly, you got to work on yourself. We got to work. You have to understand what's going on under the hood. And in the hood, too. So that's important. And if, as a disciple, he uses disciple, I got to get out of that. Student, I like better. I don't know, what do you like? Disciple or student?
Student.
What? Student. Yeah, disciple sounds too like, do what I tell you and shut up. I don't know. That's me.
It's related to discipline, perhaps.
Maybe, and we don't like to hear that word at all. Let that go. Throw that out. We're having fun here. If as a disciple you are rich in these three qualities, honesty, discriminating with an interest, it is profitable for you to rely upon as many spiritual teachers as possible. I don't think you have to marry one and that's it. No. This isn't that kind of situation. If, however, you are not rich in the qualities of the disciple, it's better to rely upon fewer teachers because of the lack of potential within your mind. And Rinpoche used to say a master can go anywhere and study any of these presentations, but a student has to first get the basics. You know, a new person has to first understand the goal, the path, and what helps, and your situation in relation to the goal. Then you could see, oh, this guy's teaching this method, this might be good for that. So he said at the beginning, it's good to study, he's talking about the Tibet Center, basic Lamrim. All the sects of Tibetan Buddhism present the stages of the path. Like the middle, so I don't have to mention the jewel ornament, the liberation, and the Kagyu, what's it? Lamdre teaching, Sakya, and Enigmas, the
Words of my purpose.
the words of my purpose. That's one of the other one. Longchenpa's trilogy. Longchen Rabjam, sometimes he's called. That's 3 books. It's big. And the original texts were by Gunther. You couldn't understand the word, the translation. I was talking. So, regardless of whether you have taken on a particular spiritual teacher as your personal teacher or not, if you receive teachings from someone on the path to enlightenment, you should restrain yourself from criticizing whatever mistakes you may see in that teacher. Again, you're not marrying the person, him or her. You're just going there for information. What they do, how they act, what they drink, eat, or something, what a slob he is, he spilled this. That's not your business right now. You're focusing on what can this person give me so that I can help sentient beings. That's it. Clear all the other stuff out, because it's a waste of time. Sometimes they're acting a certain way to persuade someone one way or the other. You don't know. This is the least that you should do. Particularly in the West, people have the habit of immediately expressing whatever comes to their minds. Yes. At times this is a very good thing. But when you take this habit to an extreme, it becomes harmful. When you make Dharma connections, regardless of whether you have made the mental commitment to that particular spiritual teacher out of respect for that connection, it is important not to be critical of whatever failings or mistakes you may see. It also clogs your mind, it wastes time, it sets you off on a train over here. And right now, you're here to get some information. Let it go.
But at this stage is like, you are, but that means you don't have a real guru before you find the real guru, right?
Not a guru you would have on the tantric path, where they're giving you real information. I want you to eat this, I want you to do this, I want you to breathe this way, look at me, do this. They're very serious yoga techniques. And the explanations they'll give you from a text will be one way. 5 months later, they'll come back and they'll read the same text. No, this means this. Because you're supposed to grow to see different meanings in this text, something like that, from what I've read. I never got that far in a relationship with a teacher, but especially Tantra involves a lot of moving around energies in the body. You've got to be very careful then. Because some meditating on rings around the heart can cause heart attack. You know, things like that. There are other things where you dissolve energies here, you don't know what you're doing. Why? Because energies carry different consciousnesses, different winds carry different meanings, consciousness with them, and you want to awaken those winds, but you got to know what you're doing. You need a teacher who's been there, and it's always very close, one-on-one type. In general, they'll give the empowerment, they'll give a general talk, they'll give this, they'll send you on retreats, big retreats, 100,000 this, 100,000 that. And they'll look in and see what's going on. But that's just the start. And then you reach a certain level, then you can go to different teachers because you're already at a level where you can jump in and a more subtle presentation. The Kalachakra is supposed to sit and for 40 minutes visualize 720 deities in the mandala and no mistakes, including the color of their eyes. Can you do that? Well, if you have a concentrated mind, you're well on your way to doing that. If you have calm abiding, the ability to put your mind on something and leave it there, and while you're doing it, you're blissful. There's certain other yogas you do where the body is very pliant, which you cannot do unless you've had calm abiding and the pliancy that comes with it, realization. So that's the reason. It makes sense. And it's getting late. We don't want to keep people past their bedtime. They have to watch whatever they have to watch. So they out on Haagen-Dazs. You can do that. It's hot. I give you permission. Who?
Steve Kiley.
Steve Kiley? That's it?
Yep.
Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavata, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, Lord of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavata. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough to see him. His form is incomparable. He is not stained by the realm of desire. He is not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with doctrines. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats, who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the Buddhi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavata. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavad teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavad is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joint palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue. I prostrate to the Tathagata, pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born and completely pure. 8 verses for training the mind. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting tool, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depth of my heart. In all actions I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as light.
Worse than Arizona was.
Worse than Arizona?
Today.
Today, yeah. Worse than West Texas, where I spent 2 years. Ugh. The next Dharma class is at 7 o'clock in our parsonage in South Orange, New Jersey. This Saturday, there will be White Tara Sadhana presentation at 1 o'clock at our parsonages in South Orange, New Jersey. On our website, you'll find the instructions for getting there. And of course, refreshments are always served there. Refreshments and substantial food. Anyway, thank you very much for your patience. Thank you.